The question hit me harder than anything I had ever heard. Not because it was loud. Not because it was rude. But because it came from a little boy who couldn't have been older than 7. His small eyes looked up at me with a sadness no child should ever carry. And in a trembling voice, standing in the doorway of his family's apartment, he asked the question that stopped my heart. "Are you going to leave too?" For a moment, the world seemed to go silent. The afternoon sunlight pouring through the hallway window suddenly felt cold. The smile on my face disappeared. I looked from the boy to his older sister, who stood behind him clutching a worn stuffed rabbit. She wasn't asking the question, but her eyes were. They both wanted to know the same thing. Would I disappear like everyone else? Before we continue, take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Lifeline Hub for more emotional stories that remind us how powerful compassion can be. I wish I could say I immediately knew what to say. I didn't. Because until that moment, I had no idea how much pain lived inside that small apartment. My name is Rowan Hale. I was 34 years old, worked as an architect, and had spent most of my adult life avoiding serious relationships. Not because I didn't want love. I just got comfortable being alone. My days were predictable. Work. Gym. Home. Repeat. Then one ordinary Tuesday afternoon changed everything. I met Marissa Vaughn at a neighborhood bookstore. She wasn't trying to get anyone's attention. In fact, she looked exhausted. Her hair was tied back carelessly. She carried 2 children's books, a grocery list, and what looked like the weight of the world on her shoulders. When she accidentally dropped everything near the checkout line, I helped gather her things. She thanked me with a smile. Not a perfect smile. A real one. The kind that comes from someone who doesn't have much energy left but still chooses kindness. We talked for 10 minutes. Then 20. Then almost an hour. I learned she was a single mother raising 2 children alone. I learned she worked mornings at a medical office and evenings doing remote paperwork after the kids went to sleep. I learned she hadn't been on a date in nearly 4 years. And somehow, before leaving, I found myself asking if she'd like dinner sometime. To my surprise, she said yes. A week later we met for lunch on a sunny Saturday. The date was simple. No expensive restaurant. No fancy plans. Just conversation. But it was one of the easiest conversations I'd ever had. Marissa was funny. Strong. Intelligent. And underneath all of that, there was a quiet loneliness she tried hard to hide. As the afternoon stretched on, neither of us seemed eager to leave. Eventually she glanced at her phone and sighed. She needed to get home to her children. Without thinking much about it, I offered to drive her. She hesitated. Then agreed. The drive lasted only 15 minutes. Yet it felt important. Like we were crossing some invisible line. The apartment complex wasn't terrible, but it showed signs of struggle. Faded paint. Cracked sidewalks. Old windows. Marissa looked embarrassed as we parked. I could see it in her eyes. As if she worried I might judge her. Instead, I found myself admiring her more. Because despite everything, she kept going. She kept showing up for her children every single day. When we reached the apartment door, she invited me inside for a few minutes. I wasn't expecting that. But I accepted. The apartment was small. Very small. The furniture didn't match. The walls showed wear. Yet the place felt warm. Photos of the children decorated nearly every surface. Handmade drawings covered the refrigerator. Evidence of love was everywhere. Then the children appeared. The little boy was named Nolan. The older sister was Ivy. Both immediately became shy around me. I introduced myself and offered awkward greetings. That's when Nolan asked the question. Are you going to leave too? The room froze. Marissa's face went pale. Ivy lowered her eyes. And suddenly I realized this wasn't a random question. This was history speaking. Pain speaking. Fear speaking. Over the next few weeks, I slowly learned the truth. Their father had left years earlier. Promised to visit. Promised to call. Promised to come back. He rarely did. After him came other disappointments. People who entered their lives briefly and disappeared just as quickly. The children had learned a dangerous lesson. That adults leave. That promises break. That caring about someone is risky. I couldn't stop thinking about that. Especially Nolan's face. The way hope and fear had existed together in his eyes. The truth was, I wasn't looking to become anyone's father. I wasn't looking for instant family responsibilities. But something about those kids made it impossible to walk away emotionally. So I didn't. I kept showing up. Not dramatically. Not with grand promises. Just consistently. Weekend lunches. Park visits. Movie nights. Helping carry groceries. Fixing a broken cabinet. Small things. Weeks turned into months. Slowly, the walls around all three of them began to lower. Nolan started greeting me at the door with excitement. Ivy began sharing stories from school. Marissa started laughing more often. Really laughing. The kind of laughter that comes when someone finally feels safe enough to breathe. For the first time in years, their apartment felt lighter. And honestly, so did my life. But healing is never a straight line. About 8 months into our relationship, everything became difficult. The architecture firm where I worked announced major layoffs. Projects were cancelled. Budgets were slashed. And one Friday afternoon I lost my job. Just like that. The stability I had always relied upon disappeared. Fear crept into every corner of my life. I stopped sleeping well. I worried constantly. I questioned everything. Including whether I belonged in Marissa's life. She already carried enough burdens. The last thing she needed was another struggling adult. Part of me considered pulling away. Not because I stopped caring. Because I cared too much. I thought leaving might protect them. Then one evening, while sitting quietly at their kitchen table, Ivy handed me a folded piece of paper. Inside was a drawing. It showed 4 people holding hands beneath a bright yellow sun. Me. Marissa. Nolan. Ivy. Above our heads she had written 3 simple words. Our family forever. I felt tears sting my eyes. Not because of the drawing itself. Because of what it represented. Trust. The thing those children had once lost. The thing they had slowly given me. And I realized something important. Leaving wouldn't protect them. It would hurt them. The following months weren't easy. Finding new work took time. Money became tight. Stress remained constant. But something unexpected happened. Instead of facing challenges alone, we faced them together. Marissa supported me. The kids encouraged me. Nolan left handwritten good luck notes before interviews. Ivy reminded me that setbacks weren't failures. Their belief carried me through my darkest moments. Eventually I found a new position. A better one, actually. More stable. Better pay. Greater opportunities. The relief was overwhelming. But the real reward wasn't professional success. It was understanding what truly mattered. 1 year after our first date, I planned a special picnic in the same park where we had spent countless weekends. The weather was perfect. Blue skies. Warm sunlight. Children playing nearby. Families enjoying the day. As Marissa sat beside me, I looked around at the life we'd built together. Not perfect. Not effortless. But real. And beautiful. I told her everything. How meeting her changed me. How her strength inspired me. How her children taught me courage. How I couldn't imagine my future without them. Then I asked her to marry me. She cried before she answered. The answer was yes. Nolan nearly tackled me with excitement. Ivy cried harder than her mother. And for one unforgettable moment, it felt like the entire world was celebrating with us. The wedding took place the following spring. A bright daytime ceremony surrounded by friends, family, and people who had supported us along the way. Nothing extravagant. Just meaningful. Exactly how we wanted it. But the moment I remember most happened after the ceremony. As everyone gathered for photos, Nolan pulled gently on my sleeve. He looked up at me with the same eyes that had once asked the question I could never forget. Except this time they were different. No fear. No uncertainty. Just happiness. And then he smiled. The kind of smile every child deserves. The smile of someone who finally believed they were staying loved. If this story is touching your heart, please take a moment right now to like the video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that love isn't always about grand gestures, sometimes it's simply about staying when others leave.